Thank you. Sorry, we just had a lot.
All right, we have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. So I'll call the meeting to order and go ahead and take the roll.
Thank you.
Board Member Bennett. Board Member Blatz.
Here.
Board Member Edmonds.
Here.
Board Member Huber.
Here.
Board Member Long.
Here.
Board Member Parks.
Here.
Board Member Ramirez.
Here.
Board Member Rollins. Board Member Zaragoza.
Here.
Chair Pollock.
Here. All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. Let me begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, which brings us to item 4 on our agenda, which is nomination and election of the chair and vice chair for this coming year. And as is tradition, our vice chair usually takes over as chair, and then we would elect a new city member to be vice chair. And I don't know that we,
Somebody's got to nominate me.
so a motion would be in order to nominate Supervisor Zaragoza
also
as our
nominate.
new chair.
Yes, for chair.
I'll second that nomination for Supervisor Zaragoza.
Second.
Okay,
Thank you.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Zaragoza. Let's switch seats. Takes effect.
Like that.
Immediately. We're fast action here.
Yeah, you notice that?
Hey, thank you.
I got a lot of people asking for it.
So I'm sure that we're also going to need a vice chair, right?
Correct.
So I nominate Ryan Blatz as vice chair.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Surprise.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Get a pay increase with that.
He looked like he didn't know it was coming, so.
All
I
right.
did not know. Thank you.
So thank you so much, and I appreciate Mr. Pollock. You did a really good job, as chair, and I hope to follow your footsteps here. Thank you so much.
Oh,
for the
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Okay, item number 5 is the minutes.
Do we vote?
We need to vote.
okay.
It's been first and second.
There we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries it. Okay, the next item is the minutes of the Pollution Control District held Tuesday, December 10th, 2019. Have everybody read the minutes? If so, we need a motion to,
A motion to approve. A second.
okay, I'm going to first and a second. Kelly and Edmonds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So that's approved. Okay, our next item is item number 6 is consider and approve by the majority vote the minor revisions to the board items and attachments and any items added or removed or continued from the Air Pollution Control Board. Does anybody have any items they'd like to? And I think we have, go ahead.
One item that would like to withdraw, item 14. This is, we're proposing under this proposal to replace one of the trains servicing the Port of Hueneme with a newer train, less polluting train. But we just found out late last week that ownership may be changing. The operator as well as the owner of the train itself. And up until the dust settles with respect to the ownership issue, we would recommend the prudent thing for us would be to withdraw and come back at a later date.
Okay, thank you. So with that consideration to remove 14, what's the pleasure of the board for the
A motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
first and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That's the order. Public comments. I don't have any cards for public comments. Anybody like to share any comments at this time from the public? Okay, if none, then we'll go over to item number 8, board comments.
That the,
Clean Power Alliance approved over $500,000 for electric vehicle charging stations in Ventura County for next year, and then looking at continuing that. So that will be wonderful.
Supervisor Long?
Yes, I wanted to say thank you to APCD for the meeting with Miser Filtration.
They reached back with me and were very happy with working with the new management and the resolution in the matter of keeping our businesses regulated and also working is really important. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Edmonds?
I attend, sorry. I attended the OHI presentation by Air Pollution Control Board. It was so impressive. I'm so pleased with what happened. I don't know if you all know that they did a test study of using electrical equipment instead of gas-powered. And it saved money, and I think it was 70 tons of pollution. So, and people were pleased with it. It included all of the maintenance and grounds people. They were all in favor of it. It was very well done. So thank you.
Thank you.
If I may just add to that real quickly, I stole a little bit of my thunder. Thank you for coming. On behalf of everyone in Ojai and especially the City Council, we want to thank APCD for coming out and assisting us with this. The director was there. It was a beautiful ceremony we had in front of City Hall. It sent the message clearly that not only is Ojai still trying to be progressive on these issues, but we are trying to lead by example. And one thing we learned in this process was that any indications from the users of the equipment moving from gas-powered to electric, the feedback was 100% consistent that they appreciated using that equipment more than the gas equipment, regardless of the environmental concerns. And that was just an added benefit. So we not only had a cool ceremony, we actually had a sledgehammer, some drills. We got our Mayor Johnny Johnson out there, a great picture of him slamming, trying to slam it. A couple pictures of me with a drill, trying not to kill myself. But really want to thank it, and I hope that it is a great test case for other communities to do the same thing.
Thank you, Mr. Blatz. And we have a few photos that we are going to share with all of
wonderful.
you later on.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Chair?
Carmen?
Thank you. I have sort of a comment, but a question for our manager, our director. We're reading that the bushfires in Australia are creating the smoke hazard, not just in Australia, but all over. It's like going across the Pacific to South America. And I know we've had our fires here, and they certainly contribute to greenhouse gas, but they affect human health because people are breathing in the particles. Are we thinking of a way to track it if it gets to our state, the impact of these horrible fires?
We have the ability to do that because we are monitoring particulate air quality every day here. So if we are going to see an uptick, we'll be able to ascertain that and where it's originating from. We can also look at the satellite imagery and see whether the plume has made it all the way to California. In the past, when there are big fires of this magnitude, especially in China, often with the prevailing winds, wind currents, typically the plume lands in the northwest, Washington area, and the surrounding states, and not necessarily in California, but remains to be seen what will happen with the Australian fire.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'd just like to thank everybody. I hope you guys had a good New Year's, and it's going to be a good year, Becky. You want to share anything else?
No, I was just going to say, Happy New Year to everyone. Congratulations to you,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, and Mr. Blatz for the Vice Chair, and congratulations to you too, Mr. Pollack, for a very successful chairmanship that you just completed.
We got a new.
Okay, our next item is regular item number 9 is approval of appointment of Kathleen Paulson to the professional engineering member position of the APCD board for a third-year term effective Jan 14, 2020 through January 13, 2023. Is she not here today? Or?
She's not here today. We were very fortunate. We had 2 excellent candidates for this position and very strong technical underpinnings. The standing committee reviewed all the qualifications, the pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, and determined that Ms. Paulson at this time will be the best fit for the committee, and staff agrees with that, and that's the proposal.
And like you mentioned, we had two great positions.
Absolutely.
Resumes there. They were outstanding.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, any concerns? Do we need a?
I'll motion to approve the appointment.
I'll second that.
Long from, a motion by Long and Lance, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. The next item is a public hearing and the adoption of a 1922 MOA between the County of Ventura and Service Employees Union 721. And this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair Zaragoza, members of the board. For the record, my name is Mike Curnow, in the Labor Relations Division of the County of Ventura's County Executive Office. Today, I come before your board with an item to recommend the adoption of a new successor memorandum of agreement between the district and SAU Local 721. The successor agreement that's proposed is for a 3-year term. It was effective December 17th, 2019 through December 17th of 2022. The main features of that agreement are 3 general salary increases, 2.5%, 2.5%, and 2%. 3 annual increases to the flexible benefit allowance, as well as a tiering of that allowance to, better match tiered healthcare premium costs. Generally speaking, tiering of allowance allows for more contributions to be directed towards employees with dependents, as their increases to healthcare generally are in a tiered are much higher. An increase to the deferred compensation match, which would now be a 2% match for 4% contribution by the employee. A new vacation accrual level for employees with 20 or more years of service. The day after Thanksgiving is a holiday. SCA organizational leave of up to 1 district staff member in compliance with the 2018's Senate Bill 1085, as well as various enhancements to smaller, generally more targeted premiums with this agreement. In December of 2019, SCA's membership did vote on this agreement, and they did ratify with an actual overwhelming 94%, which is very good. It speaks very highly of this package. Finally, there are 2 other important notes I need to make before I step down from the diocese. One, I wanted to bring to your attention that on page 3 of the document, there was actually an erroneous statement. On page 3, we specifically stated that there's a market-based adjustment that was being paid out to district staff. While there are several employees in SAU that did get a market-based adjustment based on our total compensation studies, the total compensation study for SEI represented district staff positions found them to be relatively within market, so market-based adjustments weren't necessary. So that is an erroneous statement, and we apologize. The second item is that, as previously mentioned, this is an agreement that was effective December 17th of 2019. We would have brought this item before your board were it not for the calendar and your schedule. We couldn't get it to you sooner. So we are asking that your board approve this retroactively to December 17th of 2019, or whatever date that may have happened between now and then, if there was another effective date between then, based on the language of the agreement.
So the 17th would be an appropriate date too.
Right, and that was the intent of the parties. That's what we bargained. It was just scheduled. We couldn't get it to you beforehand. So with that, thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anyone like to share anything in this public hearing? If not, to close the public hearing, and board members?
No, I would motion to approve.
Kelly, second by Huber. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we have another public hearing on
Thank you.
item 11 regarding the adoption of the 2022 MOA between the County of Ventura and also the Ventura County Association, and also to waive a second public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair Zaragoza and members of the board. My name is Sandra Ambrose, and I'm with the Labor Relations Division of the County Executive Office. The item before you is a request to commence a public hearing on the adoption of the Memorandum of Agreement between the county and the Ventura Employee Association, also known as VEA. Additionally, we ask that your board waive the second hearing to expedite the implementation of the MOA. The successor MOA terms and conditions are consistent with the county and the district's compensation philosophy to keep total compensation within 5% or above the job market for the job classifications represented by VEA. The proposed MOA has a 3-year term, and the main features are general salary increases over 3 years, 2.5% for 2 years, and 2% for the last year. 2 market-based salary adjustments for classifications who are below the market median, a $50 per pay period increase to the flex credit allowance effective this month, and an additional $50 to begin in December 2020 and December 2021 to coincide with annual premium increases for the new plan years, and addition of the day after Thanksgiving as a paid county holiday. I'm happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
Any questions, Sandra? But anybody else from the public hearing here? Anybody want to share anything? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll go to our commission. Amendments.
I wanted to stress how impressed I am with both contracts, and I feel very fortunate that as a county we're able to do this, to add the Friday, which is so silly not to be a holiday to start with, and to add the 2 days for 20 years. If you're here 20 years, you get 2 additional days. But the pay increase, I just was very impressed with the whole thing, so thank you, both of you.
And I want to thank you for sharing that, because it's basically what the county's getting to, and I'd just like to commend our negotiators for doing an excellent job, not only for the county, but also for APCD. You know, they've done an excellent, excellent job. Any additional?
No, that's great.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Second.
Kelly, Edmonds, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Okay. Item 12 is the adoption and resolution granting general salary increases for employees covered by the APCD management, confidential clerical, and other unrepresented employee resolutions. Management resolution and adoption of an amendment of APCD management resolution to implement changes in the flexible benefit program and allowances and other benefits. Sean Otten.
Thank you, Chair Zaragoza. Good afternoon, members of the board. I'm Sean Otten, the county's Human Resources Director, and today this is for the non-represented employees. We're recommending that your board adopt the resolution for APCD employees covered by the management resolution. There's a handful of them. With regard to the salary increases and the flexible benefit increases, you'll note that they are the same as for the SEIU. They're tiered flexible increases and the same general salary increases. The dates, as well as for the rest of the county, the general salary increases for 2 years are 2.5%. For the third year, it's 2%. The first general salary increase will be January 26th, and the second one will be November 29th, both in 2020, and the third one will be on December 26, 2021. The flexible credit increases, the exact numbers are in the board letter. It's tiered by how many dependents and employees are covered. Those will take effect, the increases will take effect on January 26th. With that, I think we also will recommend adding Thanksgiving as an additional county paid holiday the day after Thanksgiving. And we've also amended some of the grievance procedure timelines to provide clarity on those. We think these recommendations are prudent and sustainable for the whole, the non-represented and represented employees. This package represents 3.2% per year on average. It's below the 3.25 Becerra calculation, so it shouldn't have any impact there. We will also come to your board in February. Right now, we're working with leadership to look at any market-based adjustments that may be required, and if we find that they are, we'll come back to your board in February.
And that's important, too. We're doing that for all the employees, and we're going up to, what, 90%?
Yeah, the philosophy is usually keep them within the 95th percentile of the median.
And board members also, you know, Sean has done an excellent job being the leader of the negotiation team for the county, and we commend you and your team, and also, of course, our CEO, but Mr. Lackey here for the leadership. Any questions of Sean? Do we need a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Second by Huber. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Sean.
I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Tabeen and the negotiating team.
Tabeen, I see Tabeen way back there, yeah.
Of course,
Good
as well
job.
as your leadership board members. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item 13 is approval of the proposed amendments to the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District Admin Manual on contract policies. Lackey?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, we are proposing to amend the policy and procedures primarily for 2 reasons. The one is a cleanup. The policy is largely based on the county policy and procedures. And when we formally adopted this policy, we incorporated terminology that is better suited for the county and not necessarily for the APCD. So we are cleaning that language up. The second one is, the second purpose is we are trying to codify our past practices that are not clearly delineated necessarily in the policies. And what I mean by that is, if we are entering into a contractual agreement above $100,000, it has been our past practice to bring those contracts to the full board because the board has the sole authority to enter into these kind of contracts. The language is crystal clear. We are not proposing any modification to that. For contracts less than $100,000, the past practice has been the executive officer will enter into contractual agreements, or upon his request, the purchasing authority, the county purchasing authority will enter into those contractual agreements. But if you read the language of the policy, it's not all that clear. So what we are proposing is to make it crystal clear in black and white that the executive officer and the purchasing authority has that authority to enter into those contracts.
That makes it more transparent, too.
More transparent.
Exactly.
And while we are at it, we are also incorporating the same dollar thresholds that the county is incorporating for competitive bidding processes. Again, normally we would not bring those to the board for full approval because the county doesn't. But since we are not doing this all that often, and this is one of the first times in a very, very long time, we are incorporating those thresholds, and we are seeking your approval for the whole package.
Any questions of
I have a
Edmonds?
On-
A question here?
On page V4, under the emergency exceptions, it said if there's an emergency exception, it will be handled. But if it is it reported? And if so, to whom is it reported? If it's an emergency and there is an exception, how do you then report that it's an exception? Or how do you do that? Did I not say that well?
Does it come back as an agenda item that
Yeah.
you did it?
How is that?
I think we're saying.
If it's an
Go ahead.
emergency, we'll come back to the board, obviously. But unless I'll have to communicate with the full board about the emergency, and then
You'll execute whatever is being executed and then report it.
right.
Yeah. And then I did want to say, in reading this contract, I first read it through without not looking at the changes, and then I read it through with the changes, and it is so much clearer. So thank you.
Actually, the kudos goes to our district council. That's
Well, thank you, District Council.
Wordsmithing and working with us in perfecting this document. And thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions? We need a motion? No? Steve
Second?
and Pollock, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And 14 has been removed, so we go to 15, and that's the adoption of resolution authorizing Ventura County APCD District to participate and accept funding from the CARB, California Air Pollution Board, the wood smoke reduction, and also the WRP program, and approval authorization of Air Pollution Control District, APCO, to execute grant agreement G18-WSRP-26 to provide the district with up to $100,168.07 in WRP funding through May 31, 22, and authorization for the APCO to execute all other documents necessary to implement such grants through fiscal year 27-28, and authorization for the auditor controller to process the necessary accounting transactions. Whoa. Anything else?
It's a long one, but we are seeking authorization to accept slightly over the $100,000 from the Air Resources Board. It's going to be our first time that we are participating in this program. And the money will be used to replace all wood stoves with newer, less polluting ones. And while the county is in attainment with the federal PM 2.5 standard, any further reductions that we can make will go a long way to further reduce exposure, and we are not yet in compliance with the state particulate standard. So it should be a very good program, and we are looking forward to it.
Great. All that for that?
One question. Where are are these county-owned wood stoves, or where do we find these, who has these wood stoves that we're replacing?
There are
What kind of
apparently,
businesses or?
thank you, very good question. The Air Resources Board did some analysis, and they determined there may be close to 1,300 old wood stoves still being operated in the county, and probably it's going to be in higher elevations. So we'll work with the vendor association and the different cities, and hopefully we'll be able to identify those individuals who would be interested in the changeovers. And we will try to focus on the low-income residents if we can. Yeah, it should be a very good program.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam has a question here.
My neighbor burns her wood every single day,
Okay.
365 days of the year. And it's for warming the house. How do you contact her? How will that process proceed?
We'll put together our outreach program, and once we have those details worked out, we can come back to the board before we initiate the program and brief you on this.
Okay, good.
We are going to look at our neighboring districts, like Santa Barbara has been implementing this program for several years now, and they had fairly decent level of success. We are going to look at other neighboring districts as well, and we'll be open to suggestions, frankly, and perhaps we'll have another opportunity before we start spending our monies. But the action today is just to authorize me to enter into this program.
And if we do it, then you bring that information back to us. Good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, so we need Kelly and Huber. First and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. 16 is receive and file recognition award for Ventura County Regional Energy Alliance in California Legislature. So we got an award there.
Yes, we did get an award. We are very happy about it. We are, thank you. We are participating in this Ventura County Regional Energy Alliance, which is a consortium. It's Joint Powers Authority of various agencies where we are trying to support sustainable approaches, electric vehicle charging stations, electrifications, and generally speaking, sustainable practices. And we received the so-called Bright Beginnings Award.
That's great.
Then I'm going to pass it on. And also, we received a similar recognition by our legislature and specifically by our Senator Hannah Jackson and
Hannah Jackson.
Limon.
Oh, good. Congratulations again to the whole staff, too.
Good job.
Good job. We have a comment here.
Thank you, Doctor. I want to just let people know that the chair of the Regional Energy Alliance is Supervisor Parks, and I'm the vice chair. We didn't, unfortunately, we can't take any credit for picking you because other people chose, but congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Parks was there with us at the event, right?
So your staff is to be commended for that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Okay.
Make a motion for that?
Do we need a
It's a
motion?
receive and file.
Just a receive and file, okay. 17 is receive and file the public information documents for December 2019. So we need a motion for that, or?
We don't need a motion for that. We issued 2 press releases that I just want to spend a few moments and describing to you last month. You may recall in November, do we have the picture? Okay, yes. In November, when the board approved several grant proposals, the recommendation was made, I believe it was from Supervisor Parks and perhaps from Ms. Ramirez and some others as well. Well, we do so much, why not put together a press release and advertise all the good things that we do? So that's exactly what we did. We had a press release that summarized all our funding programs and what we spent and what we accomplished over the last year. It's on our website. We also prepared a 1-page summary of what we have accomplished, and that is also going to be on our website, and we intend to bring this literature along when we go to town hall meetings, and we have a booth there, and the same information can be available to you if you are meeting with your constituents at town hall meetings or community meetings. Feel free to utilize this literature. It's a good piece of information. And next month, we intend to bring a little more detail and share it with you as to what those programs are and what we have accomplished over the year. And the second one is...
Could I ask?
Yes.
Right now, I'm looking at the website, trying to find the press release. Can you tell me where to find it?
Is that different?
I'm looking at,
Do we know whether it's still on the website? On the website?
he said it's on the
Okay.
website, so I'm looking for it.
This is a
I'll have
test.
to upload to the website, and I'll show you where it is.
So someone will let. Okay, so CFO News, I'll check that one.
We have some prior conversation with Ms. Ramirez, and definitely our website needs to
Thank you.
be updated and be brought to
Great.
the 21st century. And that's going to be in our next budget cycle. The second press release is about the Ojai project that we just started talking about. We celebrated Ojai's conversion from gas-powered and diesel-powered landscaping equipment to all-electric, less pollutant, zero pollution, and much lesser noise, if I may add. They became the second green zone city, the first one being South Pasadena. So, and this conversion was accomplished in part with $60,000 that this district had offered and partnered with. So I have a few slides that I want to show you. Through this project, we are reducing close to 80 tons of emissions on an annual basis, and we hope it will serve as an example that other cities will be able to emulate from. And definitely, Mayor Johnston and Professor Dr. Colomé spearheaded that effort, and they worked with my predecessor, Mr. Villegas. Yours truly was there at the event, offering some congratulatory remarks. One of the criteria and requirements of the completion was to destroy, literally destroy, the old gas-powered equipment so that they don't proliferate and continue polluting. So you can see your fellow board member and Mayor Pro Tem, hard at work trying to drill a hole, in the engine. And it wasn't, Mayor Johnston, took a much more physical approach, And it wasn't an all-men show. We had women. This particular lady is Ms. Dan Levy, representing the Air Resources Board, who also participated. And I saw that yours truly operating under other requirements as other obligations that's required.
And I will add, we had intended on rolling over all of the equipment with a steamroller.
Steamroller.
But that was determined to be a pretty bad idea because it was about to leave a lot of pollution in the area we were going to do it.
Yeah.
So we're glad we got this figured out. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Good.
It was a great event, and like I said, we hope that it will set the example. Ojai has set the bar pretty high, but we hope, if they can accomplish it, why not other cities, so.
Good. I want to thank you again for doing all those great things. You and your staff should be commended. We started off with a good year.
Thank you very much. And again, the heavy lifting was done by the staff, so I'm just here, to claim the
We
credit.
have a comment here from Commissioner.
I wanted to commend you on the advertising and the notice to newspapers. And I wondered if you can sometimes also notice the funds that are available for different purposes, because a lot of people are not aware of them, and I keep telling people about it, and they say, oh, is that true? So I think if it were to be in the paper, I know this is an additional job that someone has to do, and I apologize for that, but it's really good PR, and it would help people know how to do it.
Absolutely. It's an excellent suggestion, and we do intend to do that. The reason why we have not done it right along with those press releases is we are still waiting for those funds to arrive for this fiscal year. The moment we got them, we'll do exactly what you're recommending.
Thank you.
Okay, any other concerns, questions? So we're going to adjourn, but we have a standing committee, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And what's our next, February? Sometime in February.
Second Tuesday of February.